to test out my camera here. This is indoors. So what I'm going to do is just show you just a short little video on the items you need if you own one of these M923s. And lately what I've been finding out by Ken Nelson and stuff is that you'll need engine liners. Well, you need to know the engine very well, because these liners, apparently they've been sitting in these trucks for quite a few years without being ran, and then they got corrosion pits in them, and then by us running them more than what the National Guard or the Army has, then they start to crack. So there's no big deal changing liners if you ever done it before. I took a diesel class in college, and that's probably one of the easiest things to do on these things, is to change out the liners, as long as you change out the liners before they let go, because then you have other sorts of problems afterwards. But if you're just going to take it in for a liner change, all you do is drain the oil, drain the water, pull off the heads, pull out the liners, and put new liners in. You don't have to worry about the bearings. You don't have to worry about anything else, and you can just do it inside the truck, and you probably get by with it by doing it in a day or two. So, but anyway, so you'll need a Cummins CID NTA 55 manual. Okay, that's one of the things you're gonna have to know anyways. Know these engines. So let me widen this out a little bit here. So you need to get this manual, okay? This engine manual, and it's just basically on how to step by step on rebuilding these engines. The next thing you want to do is download the technical manuals for these trucks. And one of the most important manuals that you need to get is the operations manuals. The Dash 10, as you can see right here. My camera's on a mount, so it's going to be a little weird. But you want to be able to get the Dash 10, the 9 series, well, hell, it's right there. The 2320 272 series, and the Dash 10 is your operation manuals. And that tells you the operations of the truck. Then you want to get the 273 series, which is your maintenance manuals. But you could download those and print those if you want. Now, another thing you'll need to have handy is a grommet kit. Okay? And, of course, I'd spilt mine, and they're not according to the sizes here. Naturally, when you're using these and then you go to grab one, these fall on the ground. So I just threw them in here. But anyway, so you need a grommet set, because there's a lot of grommets on these trucks, and a lot of them are deteriorated. Then you'll need an O-ring set. I think I went over this last time when I was doing but you'll need an assorted O-ring set. And I'll pan this out. And they come in they're really nice. They come in the standard thicknesses, and then you could get another set that are oversized O-rings that are thicker. I have both, but I just brought this one out just to show you. So you'll need these. These come in handy because there's a lot of O-rings on these trucks, and then trying to find the part number and to find out which one it is, it's easier just to take it off the truck and match it. And 100% of the time you're going to find this O-ring. I haven't found one yet that's not in here that the truck doesn't have, or this doesn't have what the truck has. Then on the electrical standpoint of view, what you'll need, if you want to make it easy for you, if you have to do any electrical wiring, you want to get the waterproof connectors that are on these trucks. And how these work. Matter of fact, I'll do it right now. You'll get, I'll go over all the parts, and then I'll make a connector up so you can see how they work. I have two types in here. This is the first version of the M connectors. These are the Korean War 1952s up until Vietnam. These metal connectors. And then these waterproof connectors are what we see today. And here's your outer shell right here. So let me go ahead and get this set up, and I'll get some wire, and I'll make up a connection. Matter of fact, I'll do both, just in case both of you. What you need to do first is get yourself some wire, and mine comes in a big roll like this. I just got it today. I ordered 1,000 feet of it. And the wire, and I'll bring up the close so you can see what the wire number is. This 1,000-foot roll, I think it's like $201 or something like that. It wasn't very expensive. Not for what you got to pay if you got to buy a harness or something, or you got to buy these connectors already connected up. And this is your waterproof connectors, okay, that the modern ones have, the rubber shells. And when you buy these, they're going to come, let me put the piece of wire right between them. This is what you're going to get for your female part, because you're going to order these either by the female side of it or by the male side of it. Okay, the female side, naturally, you're going to get a female connector. You're going to get a inner sleeve, and then you're going to get an inner shell. When you order the male side of it, you're going to get the outer shell. You're going to get a holder, what they call a C-clamp, to keep it, you'll see how that works. And then you'll get a male connector. Now, you can solder them. I did that, and it's a pain. You know, it just takes you so long to do anything. If you got to do 20, 30, 40 connectors, you want to be able to get them done. So what you need, you'll need a crimper. You need a star crimper, a 4-star crimper like this. These are DMCs. And how they work is you have a dial indicator right here. And the outside is your size of your wire and gauges, AWG, the outside. And this particular one goes from 12 gauge wire all the way up to 26 gauge wire, okay, already down to 26 gauge. And all that does is determine the opening. See, this is set for 14 gauge wire. Let me get it in focus again. And if you close it, you can see the star pattern, and you can see the opening is quite large, okay? Now, if I put this down to 26, you got to pull the knob out and turn it. Okay, now if I close it, let me get it in focus again. There we go. Now you're going to see them almost touch. There you go. See how close that is? So if you use it on a 26 setting and you close it, you'll never get these things open, because they have to go fully closed before they release. If you only close it halfway, you can't open it up. And if you have a set on a small setting, you'll never get them open again. You have to take it apart. So we put it back to 14. Okay. So I'm going to do the female side first. So what you do, the first thing you got to do is when you put them together, you got to put the shell on first. Okay. And it helps if you wet them. If these were sitting out in the sun, these shells would slide on this insulation real easy. But since I'm down in the basement and it's cool, no, I'm not in my underwear. Okay. They're sort of, you gotta work these past the insulation. Or if it's cool outside, you gotta fight them. There we go. So see how this is just on the insulation. So that goes on first. Then you put your sleeve in, and the sleeve, as you can see, is tapered. I don't think let's see here, tapered. See how it's tapered right there, big end, fat end. Well, you push it in where the small end goes in first. Okay. The fat end's on the outside. Then you just slide that down in there. Then it looks just like that. Is that starting to look a little familiar? Then you take your connector, and the narrow side right here. Let's see if I can lower it. Is the side that it goes in like so. Okay, this goes in there. So the thicker side, the solid side, it's all solid. And then you got your narrow side right there. You see how you got an opening right there? Okay. Okay, that's where you go. So you put the wire in. Where'd it go? Here it is. Oh, I got too much insulation. But anyway, you want to strip your wire the length of the fatness right there. So let me chop some of that off. And if you cut it too short, that's okay. It's still, as long as you can crimp it where it holds. Okay, so where am I? Oh, here I am. So you want to take it and run the insulation just up to the insulation, just like so. Okay. But what I do, it's easier to do it this way. You put it in here. You take where you're going to crimp it, run it up to where it's flush. Okay. Let me see if I can tilt it. There it goes. Now see how it's basically flush? Then I would squeeze it. I would make it flush. And then I would give it one click. There's your click. Did you hear it? Okay. Then I would take the wire, stick it in the back right here. And what that does is help hose the connector, because it takes two hands to squeeze this thing. Then you squeeze it like so. Okay. And then you just pull it out. Now, depending on the manufacturer, these things are sometimes a booger to get out. Okay. So you gotta sit there and wiggle it out. And you want to be careful that when you do wiggle it out, there we go, that there's a spring. This ring right here is a spring. So then you can see I pulled out the spring a little bit. So then you want to just push it back in a little bit. There we go. Now I got the spring pushed back down again. Okay, so that's it. Then you just slide this up until that connector goes in there, and then there's your female connector that you're all familiar by seeing. Okay. Now to do the male portion, same thing. You put the outer shell in first. The female end or the male end doesn't take as long. Okay, let me just work that down in here. And when you order these connectors, you got to order them to the size of the wire that you're going to use. So, and if you moisten it a little bit, spit on it, it helps. There you go. Because rubber against rubber just does not work. There we go. Now I got it through. Okay. Then you take your end again. Now the male parts, some of them again to the manufacturer, you have to sort of like pound it in there a little bit. Usually your wire strippers work but if you have a knife, a bigger knife, something like this, then you can just tap it in there. There we go. And as you can see, well, you got to get back in it. You got to at least get it flushed towards the back right here. There we go. Then I give it one, again, I just do it one click on the squeeze here at first. And that helps. And that will hold that and that'll lock it in there. And then you take your wire, you stick it in there like so up to the insulation, and you just squeeze until you can't squeeze no more. And that gives you, let me get my hand up here. And that gives you a nice crimp right there. See that crimp? A nice 4-star pattern crimp. Then you take your C-clip, and that fits on the insulation just right behind there. And what that C-clip does, it prevents the insulation, this outer shell, from sliding out. So there's your connection. So here's your male connector, and then here's your female connector. Well, got it back asswards. I'm not very good at the birds and the bees here. But anyway, so then to connect it, the proper way to do it is you slide back the outer shell. If you want to, okay, come on. Okay, you slide back the outer shell. And then you make the connection with the plug. Like so. Then once it's connected, then you just slide the outer shell over the inner shell. There you go. When they're new, they are a bear to work with when they're new. So there's your connection right there. That's how you do it. Now, for those of you who have older trucks, like I do, also, I got an M211. Okay, now when you order, now the M211 style series uses this style of connectors, and when you order them, this is what you're going to get. Okay. First of all, you're going to get a connector that connects both of them together, because they're both going to have male ends on them. Okay. Then you'll get the waterproof insulation. Then you get a keeper, and then you get your shell. This is what makes it waterproof, is that this and this will ride together. This will fall on the back here, and then your wire comes out of there, and then your connector goes on top like that. And that's what makes it waterproof, is that rubber right there. And with the rubber connecting on your connector like that. So, well, I don't know. Yeah, let's go. So I'm going to go ahead and put this together. It crimps the same way. So here's your wire. So now you got to put it together. First of all, what you got to do is slide. We'll do the female end first, or the male end first. So you slide your male end on. Then you slide your collar on with the washer type first. Let's see here. Set washer. So that goes on there just like so. Then you slide your rubber stopper in, and your rubber stopper goes in like that. Focus, focus, focus. There we go. This goes against the connector, so it has to go on the wire just like so. Okay, slide that on. Again, if it's hot outside and all this stuff is hot, it's easy to get these things on. Okay, well, I got enough showing right there, enough insulation I could work with. What I did, I pulled the insulation back. But what you do when that happens, you put your connector in here, like we did before. You make it flush. Let me put that in there. There you go. It's flush. Right there, you can see how it's flush. Okay, give it one squeeze. Okay, then stick that in there like so. And finish crimping it. Okay. Uh-oh. My shit came off the back end of the wire. Yeah, see? So now I got to build it backwards. The collar. You see how the collar goes on now? Okay. Here's the stopper. Here's the collar. Then the shell goes on. Just like so. And then when it connects in there like so. Just like that. You put that connector in there when it connects it. And then you just run that in there. Just like that. And then you do the same to the other side. And then when you get done, then it just connects up just like so. Then you'll have your connection. But let me go ahead and do the other side. Put it together. There's that. Okay. Put in that steel collar. Here's the collar. Right there. And then you put in the rubber stopper Oh, no, this one wants to cooperate. Imagine that. Okay. Well, as far as it's going to go, but you can still get the wire in there and crimp it. Again, preload your crimper. Okay. Sometimes it's easier if you just load it in from the back. And sometimes you could just push it in with your fingers. This one you can't, so I got to use a little help. There you go. Then you got it right here. You put the connectors together like so, and then you just close the two shells. And there you have it. And there's your connection for your metal style. Now, one more item you will need if you buy these military trucks is this YAK 300, or, which I prefer, you have this one and the Yak 70. Hydraulic electric crimpers. And it comes with these dies. And I'm not going to show you or take this out because there's a lot of good videos on this, and these are your dies, and all it does is just be able to make electrical connection. You know, it crimps it. Like I say, there's really good YouTube videos on this crimper, and but they're really cheap, and they really work well. Because what I did with my truck, here's the crimper itself, and there, you know, and this is a pretty good size one. But like I say, this is the Yak 300. But they're really good for battery cable ends. And when I redid my truck, I put the batteries, took them out from underneath the front seat, and I made the toolbox in front of the rear wheels. I made that the battery box. I put four, I forgot what size batteries they were, but they're the size batteries that semi-trucks use. And four of them fit in there perfectly. And so I had to make all new battery cables, and